Hey, wonderful creators, just jumping on here with a message. Just had an amazing session with one of my long-term one-to-one 12-month clients. And yeah, just really feel inspired to share a bit more about the kind of theme or the premise that came up in the session. And it's about this kind of premise, if you're making notes, it's called gap versus gain. So gap versus gain. And we really saw that in the session for our client, this client of mine, and this happens for the 8 billion people around the world. There's a reptilian part of our brain in our current reality, our ego, and it's all about noticing the gap that there is between where we are right now and where we would love to be. This is the vision of where we would love to be, and this is the current reality. That's the gap. That's what's called the anxiety gap, the unhappiness gap. And especially for this client, their ego focuses on, the lack, especially in their business, the lack of maybe they haven't had a client for a while now, perhaps, or their income is running low, perhaps, or the lack of numbers they have in their engagement on their followers or Instagram or Facebook or social media. So the ego here in the current reality is just focused on lack, and that's how our ego is designed, especially our reptilian part of our brain. And that sends then us into tension physiologically and emotionally, and then we have to resolve that dysfunctionally with a dysfunctional action. Whereas we actually saw then the bridge in the session was actually to focus not on the gap between where we are and where we'd love to get to. We actually focus on the gain of where we are and where we've come from. An absolute game-changing shift for the client, and always great learning for myself. And it's always good to see that this happens. It's quite a universal premise. When we focus on the gap, when we focus on the gain instead of the gap, then that really shifts things. And actually, part of the bridge in the session and the bridge I invite for all of us is to intentionally focus more on how far have we come, what have we created in our business, in our life, in our relationships, how much have I learnt on that journey. And just see then what's obvious about what wants to be created from there. So focusing on the gap versus the gain, focus on how far you've come versus where your ego perceives you to be going, is a real game-changing shift. So wishing you lots of love, keep creating that life and business beyond your wildest dreams, and I'll see you all soon.